Well, as promised earlier, I'm back with more news. Time for TV47 at 4. My name is Linda Alela, and we start off on matters of politics. And the National Cohesion as well as Integration Commission has stated that it is investigating several political leaders from both the government and opposition for their remarks, among them former Deputy President Rigathi Gashagua and Health CS Aden Duale. The Commission has also stated that it is conducting independent investigations into utterances made by leaders Public Service CS, that is Geoffrey Ruku, Busia Governor Paul Otuoma, Mandera Deputy Governor Ali Maalim, Sirisia Member of Parliament John Waluke, Wanjiku Mohia, David Gikaria, Tipape Naini Musa, and Dr. Dennis Addison Ouma.
The Commission, through its investigations and compliance department, is conducting independent investigations into utterances attributed by the following persons: His Excellency Rigathi Gashagua, former Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya; Cabinet Secretary Honorable Aden Duale; Cabinet Secretary Honorable Geoffrey Ruku; His Excellency Paul Nyongesa Otuoma, Governor Busia County; His Excellency Dr. Ali Maalim Mohamud, Deputy Governor Mandera County; Honorable John K. Waluke, MP, Sirisia; Honorable Wanjiku Mohia; Honorable David Gikaria; Tipape Naini Musa; Dr. Dennis Edson Ouma. These investigations are...
Arvid Githinji working on the details of that story to bring it to you later. And DCP party leader Rigathi Gashagua has addressed recent allegations that the Deputy President Kindiki has been stripped of some of his responsibilities and replaced by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. Gashagua has said that Kindiki has been used by President William Ruto to betray him and that the current challenges he faces are self-inflicted. Gashagua has further claimed that President Ruto is behind Kindiki's woes, stating that he had warned Kindiki before his impeachment that Ruto was using him to persecute Gashagua, but Kindiki chose to ignore the warning. He also alleged that Ruto plans to use and discard leaders from the central region, implying that their political future is bleak.
Sasa nimeona ameanza kuangaisha Kindiki. Na mimi niliambia Kindiki. Nikamwambia Kindiki, wewe unatumiwa kunipiga mimi. Huyu Kasongo akimalizana na wewe atakuangaisha vile aliniangaisha. Sasa huyu Kindiki ameangaishwa, wanamtusi, wanamkosea heshima, lakini sisi hatujali kwa sababu nilimuonya. I told Professor Kindiki, don't dance on the grave of your brother, because siku moja pia utapata shida. Sasa huyu Kindiki amepangiwa. Hii watu ya ODM wanamtukana asubuhi na mapema. Ati huyu Junet anatangaza ati wako na Deputy President mwingine. Na Kindiki yako kwa kiti. Na Ruto asiongea. Huyu Junet akiongea ametumwa na Ruto.
And Sami Waweru Kamau has been sworn in as the Member of Parliament for All Kalau beginning this term, slightly a year before the 2027 general election. Now, Kamau on Tuesday traveled to Parliament in a public service matatu for his swearing-in ceremony, sharing photos and videos of the journey on social media. He was received at Parliament by DCP allied leaders dressed in the party's official colours. A symbolic show of political solidarity marked the arrival of Godho at Parliament buildings, and as he was escorted by leaders and supporters allied to the Democracy for Citizens Party dressed in party's signature green attire ahead of his swearing-in, Godho cast his entry into the National Assembly as more than a personal triumph, signalling what his party hopes is the beginning of a stronger opposition presence in Parliament. He won the All Kalau parliamentary by-election by a wide margin, defeating his closest rival in one of the country's most hotly contested races.
I, Sami Douglas Kamau Waweru, having been elected a member of the National Assembly, do swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the people and the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, respect, uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, and that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of Parliament. So help me God.
Very well. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You may proceed and sign to your oath of office.
And President William Ruto has announced plans to reform Kenya's university funding system by introducing full government support for all students admitted to public universities and colleges. The proposal aims to replace the current need-based funding model, which has faced criticism over delays, funding gaps, and unequal allocation of scholarships and loans. Through the proposed Tertiary Placement and Funding Bill 2026, the government's plan to establish the Tertiary Education Funding Authority, that is TEFA, bringing together HELB, the Universities Fund, and the TVET Fund under one agency, they say is key. Officials say the unified system will streamline funding, improve loan recovery, ensure timely disbursement of funds, and guarantee equal access to higher education for every qualified student across the country.
Our objective is to build an ecosystem where education, research, innovation, entrepreneurship, and industry reinforce one another. We have amendments to the Higher Education Loans Board program, again, that will now make it possible. And I said before, I will repeat again, it will now make it possible for every student placed in our TVETs and in our universities to get full funding for their courses. It will be dependent on your capacity and your talent, so that every child in Kenya gets an opportunity to be their best, irrespective of their social or economic background.
And the High Court has acquitted rally driver Maxine Wahome of the murder of her late boyfriend Asad Khan, bringing to a close one of Kenya's most closely followed criminal cases. Justice Lilian Mutende ruled that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case, finding that the evidence presented by 29 witnesses did not directly link Wahome to Khan's death. The court held that there was no proof she inflicted the fatal injuries, with forensic findings, medical testimony, and the investigating officer's own evidence failing to conclusively place criminal responsibility on the accused. Wahome, who had been charged over Khan's death following an incident at a Nairobi apartment in December 2022, was acquitted after the judge found the prosecution had not met the legal threshold required to place her on her defense.
Throughout the trial, we kept addressing the DPP, requesting him to review the evidence to no avail. Well, the day has come. The prosecution called almost 30 witnesses, none of whom, and I repeat, none of whom pointed a single finger at Maxine. You know, notice I call her name. Don't call her the accused. At Maxine. No one said she did it. No one said they heard she did it. No one said they had any other evidence she did it. But she very patiently waited it out. She was 24 years then. It's about 3-4 more years you add. She's still young, but her whole life was interrupted. Maxine was a rally champion in Kenya. She lost that. I hope she can pick it up. But we all say we are very grateful at the end of the day that the ends of justice were met. We are grateful that the court saw through the farce, through the evidence and acquitted her with no case to answer.
Kenya continues to face recurring drought, food shortages and disaster-related losses, exposing weaknesses in preparedness and emergency response. UGM party leader David Maraga says the government must stop remaining silent and begin immediate preparations for the expected El Nino rains from October this year. Maraga warns that a dry spell is likely before the heavy rains, making early planning essential to protect lives and livelihoods. Maraga is now urging authorities to provide crop drying units to farmers, strengthen emergency county relief operations, and relocate vulnerable families safely and with dignity. He also called for accountability, warning leaders against exploiting disasters for political or personal gain, while emphasizing coordinated action to reduce suffering and build national resilience against future climate emergencies.
The severe phenomenon that has been nicknamed Godzilla El Nino has an 8 in 10 a chance of sweeping this region from October this year to early next year. This is not a horoscope. It is a warning that has been in the public domain for months, but the government of Kenya is not paying attention. We would have expected that the budget this year would have been very, very specific. But you saw what the CS was saying last night. When asked, he was just guessing, talking about 10 billion and saying, look, this is a huge sum of money. I don't know where we are going to get it from. When, a few months back, they had more than 14 billion shillings that they spent in Olkalau.
As political activities intensify in the country ahead of next year's general election, women leaders are raising concerns over increasing political violence and intimidation targeting female politicians. They said the hostile environment is discouraging many qualified women from seeking elective office. During the Women Achievers Conference and Awards in Nairobi, leaders led by National Assembly Deputy Speaker Gladys Boss-Shulei called on the government to guarantee the safety of women in politics and ensure equal opportunities in leadership.
Many women who are capable of being a better and 10 times better politician than me. But the only thing that stops them is they're scared of the violence. They are scared of the scrutiny. They are scared of their private lives being left open. They are worried about the names they call you. You know, have you ever discovered something when they want to attack a woman and they will always say, they'll say she's a prostitute, you're sleeping around. Then they will say that you're a drunkard. They will always look for those things, but they don't mention men in the same light. So many women shy away from it. And we must begin to talk about it as women and say we cannot allow this kind of behavior so that we can encourage more women to move into politics.
A woman without money is a servant. You have to ask for permission for everything and you have to sit as if you don't know even tomorrow exists, simply because you have no money. So your economic empowerment is important to us as women achievers. Women drive 50% of job creation through SMEs, yet only 2% are considered bankable.
Kenya expects more than 10,000 delegates from 40 countries at the 16th Magical Kenya Travel Expo that is scheduled for October the 6th to 8th at Uhuru Gardens here in Nairobi. The event, the largest in history, will feature over 400 exhibitors and 250 international buyers as the country targets 5 million international arrivals by 2027. This year's expo will focus on digital transformation, artificial intelligence, and the growth of Kenya's meeting incentives, conferences, and exhibitions tourism segment.
We work with the private sector to curate the kind of programs they want, the kind of private sector they would like us to bring into the country for that B2B meetings, and the theme of the expo. This year we are focusing on digital transformation and AI and the place of technology, emerging technology in tourism.
This year, there is an intentional focus on mines, which has not been done in the past. Why mines? It's because we want to invite our neighboring countries to come and discover what Kenya has to offer, whether it is the Rwandese Bar Association, Ghanaian Bar Association. We need them to know that Kenya has facilities. It has to be a conscious effort so that they come and discover, so that they don't just meet within their own countries. We've had discussions with them. We want to attract them to come for MKTE so that they can see what Kenya has to offer. MKTE thrives on private sector support. Private sector support is even more crucial than government, because government doesn't have hotels.
And Kenya has become the global launchpad for a groundbreaking electric mobility innovation after Bingo Technologies unveiled the Bingo E2, the world's first purpose-built dual battery electric vehicle that is designed specifically for the online taxi industry. Now, the launch in Nairobi introduced not only an EV capable of traveling up to 440 kilometers on a combined charge, that is with fixed and swappable battery technology, but also a complete electric mobility ecosystem featuring AI-powered fleet management, flexible financing, and charging solutions aimed at lowering operation costs, boosting driver earnings, and accelerating Kenya's transition to clean, sustainable transport.
In terms of market condition and market expansions, I think first we want to build Nairobi, we want to build Kenya, and we want to bring manufacturing. We want to bring the entire ecosystem. So for the next 2-3 years, we're going to be focusing on Nairobi, and we're going to be focusing on Kenya.
By the time we get into 10,000 or thousands of them, we have a system that works. So we're very measured in our approach. To make sure that we're listening to the community, we're listening to the drivers, and we're building something that actually works for here. Not Lagos, or not Ghana, or not South Africa, but here in Nairobi.
I think right now it's to concentrate on filling up the classes that have not been covered, and also in building the infrastructure, because without the infrastructure the vehicles will not come. But again, they say without the vehicles then somebody doesn't build the infrastructure. So we have to do both, and I'm glad that in this launch we have heard that they are also planning and rolling out infrastructure at the same time as rolling out the vehicles.
So by having the lowest cost of ownership, it means that they get more money at the end of the day. Same trips, same passengers, more money, more profit.
And Harambee Starlets will be aiming to revive their 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON campaign when they take on Senegal in their second Group A match in Morocco. The Starlets began their tournament with a difficult 4-0 defeat to host Morocco, leaving them bottom of Group A. Now, Algeria currently lead the group after defeating Senegal 2-0 in the other opening fixture, meaning Thursday's clash is crucial for both Kenya and Senegal as they seek their first points of the tournament. Despite the heavy opening defeat, Harambee Starlets head coach Beldino Demba remains optimistic about her side's chances against Senegal. And Jose Mourinho's second era at Real Madrid has begun on a winning note after Los Blancos edged third-tier side, that is Alcorcón, 1-0 in a behind-closed-doors pre-season friendly. Dani Yanez's late penalty handed Mourinho his first victory since his dramatic return to the Santiago Bernabeu, as the Portuguese tactician kicked off preparations for the new La Liga season with a positive result despite Adeguela's missing and early sports kick. Morning is coming your way at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. So make sure that you keep it TV47. My name is Linda Alela. At this point, we close TV47 at 4. Good afternoon.
Tonight on Vuta Stool. Na kwani leo umeoga mapema aje?
Songa na uko mbali, harufu itaingia kwa mkate zangu.
Hamja notice kitu mpya leo?
Ameongeza weight eh?
Kiatu mpya.
Hujavaa socks.
It's a very special day.
Special day nigga.
Na si nini?
Acha tu.
Nani amekufa?
Hakuna mtu amekufa.
Umelipa madeni.
Celebration bila mtura. That is a total meeting.
Ni celebration ya mtu very special.
President ama pastor ama ni landlord
Ama ni Brian. Mimi. Kwani hiyo simu yako ina network?
Kuna call na ngoja. Yaani nyinyi mtu ajiva hivi smart. Apige cut fresh, anunulie masoda. Na baada muelewi.
Vuta stool.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. No more